HTV breaking news. What began as an ordinary day has now turned into a heartbreaking nightmare, because shocking reports are swirling around 90-Day Fiancé fan favorites Jenny Slatan and Sumit Singh. And if these reports are true, this may be one of the most devastating moments their supporters have ever had to witness. According to the viral claims spreading across fan pages and YouTube headlines, Sumit is said to be in critical condition after suffering severe burns across nearly 45% of his body, while Jenny is reportedly left emotionally shattered as everything around them appears to be falling apart at once. Now, before we go any further, it is important to say that these dramatic claims appear to be circulating mostly through social media and fan content headlines, and not all details have been independently confirmed. But even the possibility of such a tragedy has already sent waves of fear, confusion, and heartbreak throughout the 90-Day Fiancé community, because Jenny and Sumit are not just another reality TV couple to many viewers. They are one of the franchise's most unforgettable pairs, a couple who survived distance, age gaps, family rejection, cultural pressure, emotional breakdowns, and years of uncertainty just to prove that their love was strong enough to endure. And that is exactly why this latest situation feels so painful. Fans have watched these two fight for every little piece of happiness they ever had. So the idea that one horrifying accident could destroy everything they built is the kind of story that instantly grabs attention and breaks hearts at the same time. For years, Jenny and Sumit's love story has felt like a roller coaster that never truly slows down. Their relationship began under complicated circumstances and only became more controversial as time passed. There were lies, family drama, endless obstacles, and moments when it seemed completely impossible for them to stay together. Yet somehow, despite all the criticism and all the pressure, they kept choosing each other. That decision came at a cost. Jenny left behind the comfort and familiarity of her life in America. Sumit faced enormous backlash in India, especially from relatives who never fully accepted the relationship. Together they had to live through moments that would have broken many other couples apart forever. But every time the world expected them to give up, they held on tighter. That is why the current rumor feels especially cruel. After everything they already survived, fans cannot bear the thought that something as sudden and catastrophic as a fire or burn-related accident could now put Sumit's life in danger and leave Jenny facing the possibility of losing not only the man she loves, but the future they fought so hard to protect. What makes this even more emotional is that another part of the rumor claims Jenny's restaurant dream has also been destroyed, adding financial devastation to an already unbearable personal crisis. If that detail is true, then this would not simply be a health emergency. It would be the collapse of an entire chapter of their lives. A dream built with sacrifice. A business tied to hope. A symbol of stability after years of chaos. Gone. And for Jenny, that kind of loss would cut deeper than most people can imagine. Because viewers know she did not just want love with Sumit. She wanted peace, security, and finally a life that felt worth all the pain she had endured. Instead, what fans are seeing now is a story clouded by fear, uncertainty, and one question nobody wants to ask out loud. Can their relationship survive one more unimaginable blow? Let's talk about why this story is spreading so fast. The words critical, 45% burns, and everything lost are not small phrases. They are the kind of emotionally explosive details that instantly trigger panic online. In the age of viral headlines, one dramatic title can move faster than the facts themselves. One fan page shares it, another creator reacts to it, a few channels attach emotional thumbnails, and suddenly the entire community feels like a tragedy has already been confirmed even when key information is still unclear. That seems to be exactly what is happening here. Across fan circles, people are repeating the same heartbreaking version of events. Sumit is allegedly hospitalized, his condition is serious, Jenny is devastated, and their restaurant or business dreams have been ruined. Whether every part of that story is accurate or not, the emotional reaction is real. Fans are worried. Supporters are posting prayers. Comment sections are filling with messages of shock and sympathy. And people who once laughed at the couple's awkward moments on TV are now reacting with genuine fear for what might happen next. There is something about Jenny and Sumit that has always made viewers feel deeply invested. Maybe it is because their relationship never looked easy or glamorous. It looked messy, fragile, human, and painfully real. It looked like two people stubbornly trying to hold on to each other even when logic, family, and society kept telling them to let go. So when a rumor like this appears, it does not feel like entertainment anymore. It feels personal. It feels like watching two people who already carried too much pain suddenly get hit by another cruel twist they did not deserve. Imagine Jenny in that moment, if these reports are accurate, hearing that Sumit has been badly burned, rushing through panic, disbelief, and pure terror, not knowing how serious the damage really is or what the next hour might bring. Imagine the hospital corridors, the desperate waiting, the silence between updates, the feeling that life has split into two parts, before the accident and after it. And then imagine learning that the place meant to represent their future, their restaurant, their effort, their independence, may also be gone. That is not just stress. That is emotional devastation layered on top of physical trauma. For anyone, it would be crushing. For Jenny, after years of feeling that happiness was always slipping through her fingers, it could feel like the universe had once again turned against her just as she started believing life might finally settle down. Now let's slow this down and look at the emotional truth beneath the headline, because even if some details remain uncertain, the reason this story hits so hard is obvious. Burn injuries are terrifying. They are not just painful in the moment. They carry long recoveries, emotional shock, fear of infection, repeated treatment, and a future full of uncertainty. Hearing that someone suffered burns over such a large portion of the body immediately tells people this is serious, this is traumatic, and this is the kind of crisis that changes everything overnight. Even strong families can break under the pressure of a medical emergency. Relationships get tested in ways no one expects. Money disappears fast. Confidence disappears even faster. Sleep, peace, normalcy, all of it gets replaced by survival mode. And if Jenny and Sumit are truly facing something on that level, then they are not just dealing with a bad day. They are staring into the kind of situation that reshapes their entire life story. That is why so many fans are reacting with tears, fear, and disbelief. Because people know how much these two have already given up for each other. They know how hard-won every little victory has been. They know this couple has never had the easy version of love. They have had the painful version, the expensive version, the judged version, the exhausting version. And now, if this tragedy is real, they may be facing the survival version too. Another reason this rumor has exploded is because of the symbolism around everything lost. Those two words are devastating. They do not just imply injury. They imply collapse. Home, business, plans, savings, confidence, routine, wiped out in one brutal turn. For viewers, that language triggers a nightmare scenario. Not because they know every fact, but because they understand the emotional weight of the possibility. Jenny is at a stage in life where peace matters more than drama. Sumit is at a stage where responsibility, healing, and stability matter more than rebellion. A crisis like this would not just hurt them physically or financially. It would attack the very thing they have spent years trying to create. A simple life together. No cameras. No judgments. Just a future. And that is what makes fans so emotional right now. Because whether people supported them from day one or criticized them the entire way, there is still a deep recognition that these two earned their right to finally breathe. To finally have a quiet life. To finally stop fighting. And now this headline suggests the fight may be far from over. Some fans are also pointing out something important. Jenny and Sumit have always been magnets for dramatic storytelling. Their relationship history makes them an easy target for sensational headlines because audiences already associate them with emotional extremes. That means any scary rumor about them spreads faster than it might for another couple. But there is a difference between a dramatic relationship update and a possible medical emergency. This is why many supporters are urging caution while also expressing concern. They do not want to dismiss the story if something serious really happened, but they also do not want to amplify pain or panic without confirmation. That balance is hard in the world of reality TV commentary, where speed often beats accuracy. Still, one thing is certain: people care. Deeply. They may not know every verified detail yet, but they are reacting because the emotional stakes feel real. And sometimes that tells you as much about a couple's impact as any official statement ever could. Jenny and Sumit became more than cast members over time. They became a symbol of impossible love surviving impossible odds. Not perfect love. Not fairy tale love. But persistent love. The kind that annoys people, confuses people, and somehow still makes them root for it. That is why this story has pulled so many viewers in so quickly. Because if a couple like this can lose everything in one moment, it reminds people how fragile life really is. It reminds them that behind the reality TV edits are actual human beings with real bodies, real fear, real dreams, and real pain. And if Sumit is truly battling through severe burns, then this is not about gossip anymore. This is about survival, recovery, and whether love can remain steady under the heaviest possible weight. For Jenny, the emotional burden could be overwhelming. She would not only be watching the man she loves suffer, She would also be carrying the fear of what comes next. Will he recover? How long will it take? Will he be the same person emotionally after something like this? How will they afford everything if business losses are part of the picture too? Where do they even begin rebuilding if the rumors of destruction are true? Those questions do not disappear after one dramatic headline. They become the new reality, the new routine, the new source of sleepless nights. And that is what makes this possible story so powerful for YouTube audiences, because it contains every emotional ingredient people respond to: love, tragedy, uncertainty, loss, loyalty, fear, resilience, and the painful possibility that a couple who fought through everything may now be fighting for something even more basic than acceptance. They may be fighting for life, healing, and the chance to start over from nothing. That is a story that instantly grips people. But it also comes with responsibility. We have to say clearly that, at this point, the most dramatic details appear to be coming from viral social posts and fan-style headlines rather than fully confirmed official reporting. So while the emotional reaction is understandable, viewers should be careful not to treat every circulating claim as established fact until more reliable information emerges. Even so, the concern itself is meaningful. The compassion itself is real. And the flood of support already shows that no matter how many ups and downs Jenny and Sumit have had in public, people do not want this chapter to end in tragedy. They want hope. They want recovery. They want proof that this is either exaggerated, misunderstood, or at the very least not as catastrophic as the internet is making it seem. Because if the full story turns out to be true, then Jenny and Sumit may be entering the darkest chapter they have ever faced together. And the question every fan is now asking is this: after years of surviving lies, family battles, public criticism, career struggles, and constant uncertainty, do they still have enough strength left to survive this too? In the next part, we will break down the viral claims one by one, look at why fans believe this story so quickly, examine what this kind of crisis could mean for Jenny and Sumit's future, and reveal the deeper emotional reason this headline has left so many viewers shaken. HTV continues. This is where the story becomes even more intense, because what people are seeing online right now is not just a simple update but a wave of emotional reactions mixed with confusion, fear, and curiosity, all happening at the same time. Reports are spreading fast claiming that Sumit Singh has suffered severe burns covering nearly 45% of his body and is now in critical condition, while Jenny Slatin is left completely devastated trying to process everything at once. But here is the key thing that many viewers are starting to question: not all of these details have been officially confirmed, which means what we are witnessing right now is a powerful combination of viral storytelling and emotional speculation, and that combination is exactly what makes a story explode across YouTube and social media in such a short amount of time. Because when people read words like critical condition, severe burns, and everything lost, their minds instantly jump to the worst possible scenario, and that emotional reaction becomes stronger than logic for a moment. And that is why fans are reacting so quickly across comment sections, sharing posts, sending prayers, and trying to understand what is really going on behind the headlines. Now, to truly understand why this situation feels so heavy, you have to look at the journey of Jenny and Sumit from the beginning. This was never a simple love story. This was a relationship filled with obstacles from day one. There were lies, there were secrets, there were family conflicts, there were cultural pressures, and there were moments where it seemed impossible for them to stay together, but somehow they kept choosing each other again and again, even when the entire world seemed against them. Jenny left behind her life in America, her comfort, her family, her stability, just to be with Sumit, while Sumit faced intense backlash from his own family and society for choosing a relationship that many people around him could not accept. And that kind of sacrifice creates a deep emotional connection, not just between the couple but also with the audience, because viewers have watched every struggle, every argument, every emotional breakdown, and every small victory over the years. And that is why when a headline like this appears, it does not feel like just another news update. It feels personal. It feels like something happening to people they have known for a long time now. Let us break down the viral claims one by one, because this is where things become even more interesting. The first claim is about the severity of the burns. 45% is a number that immediately sounds serious to anyone hearing it, because it suggests a major medical emergency, something that requires immediate attention and long-term recovery. And when people hear that number attached to someone they recognize, it instantly creates fear. The second claim is about Sumit being in critical condition, and that phrase alone carries a lot of emotional weight because it suggests uncertainty, it suggests danger, and it suggests that the situation could go in multiple directions at any moment. And then comes the third claim: Jenny is devastated and everything is lost. This is the part of the story that amplifies the emotional impact even more, because it combines personal pain with financial loss and future uncertainty. And when All three of these elements are presented together: health crisis, emotional breakdown, and total loss. It creates a narrative that feels overwhelming, almost too much to process at once, and that is exactly why it spreads so fast online, because people cannot ignore it. Now here is something very important to understand. Viral stories often follow a pattern. They are structured in a way that maximizes emotional impact. First, they introduce a shocking event, then they add emotional depth, and finally they present a sense of total loss or uncertainty, and this structure is extremely effective for grabbing attention, especially on platforms like YouTube, where the first impression determines whether someone clicks or scrolls, and that is what we are seeing here: a story that is structured to trigger curiosity, concern, and emotional engagement all at the same time. But at the same time, we have to remember that real-life situations are more complex than viral headlines. Not everything is always exactly as it appears in the beginning, and that is why many fans are now asking questions. Where is the official confirmation? Where are the direct updates from Jenny or Sumit? What is actually verified and what is still speculation? And those questions are important because they help separate emotional reaction from factual information. But even with those questions, the emotional impact of the story is already strong, and that is something that cannot be ignored, because people care about this couple, and that care is what drives the conversation forward. Now let us talk about what this situation could mean emotionally, because even the possibility of something like this is enough to create a powerful reaction. Imagine being in Jenny's position, receiving news that the person you love has been seriously injured. Everything changes in that moment. Your priorities, your thoughts, your emotions, everything shifts from normal life to survival mode, and that kind of emotional shock is something that is difficult to describe. It is a mix of fear, disbelief, and helplessness all at once. And if the rumors about financial loss are also true, then that adds another layer of stress, because now it is not just about recovery, it is about rebuilding an entire life from scratch, and that is something that takes time, energy, and emotional strength. Now, from the audience perspective, this is where the story becomes even more engaging, because people are not just watching for updates, they are emotionally invested in what happens next. They want to know if Sumit will recover. They want to know how Jenny will handle this situation. They want to know if their relationship can survive yet another major challenge, and that curiosity combined with emotional connection is what keeps viewers coming back for more updates, more details, and more answers. And that is exactly why this story is gaining so much attention right now, because it has all the elements of a high engagement narrative: real people, real emotions, real uncertainty, and a future that is completely unpredictable. Now, another important factor to consider is how quickly information spreads in today's digital world. One post becomes 10 posts, 10 posts become 100 videos, and before you know it, a story that started as a single claim turns into a full-blown viral topic with multiple versions, multiple interpretations, and multiple reactions. And that is what makes it difficult to separate fact from exaggeration, because once a story reaches that level of visibility, it takes on a life of its own, and people start reacting not just to the original claim but to the reactions of others as well, and that creates a cycle of continuous engagement where the story keeps evolving with every new comment, every new post, and every new video. Now, as this situation continues to develop, one thing is clear: whether the full details are confirmed or not, the emotional impact is already real. Fans are concerned, viewers are engaged, and the story is far from over, because people are now waiting for clarity, waiting for confirmation, and waiting to see what happens next. And that is where things become even more interesting, because in the next part we are going to break down the possible outcomes, what could realistically happen from here, how situations like this usually unfold, and why some fans believe this could either be the strongest test of Jenny and Sumit's relationship or the moment that changes everything forever. Now, when a story reaches this kind of emotional intensity, the next question people always ask is what happens next, and that is exactly where the tension becomes even stronger, because once the shock settles in, the mind immediately starts searching for outcomes. People begin imagining recovery timelines, hospital updates, financial damage, emotional breakdowns, family reactions, and the future of the relationship itself, and every possible outcome carries its own emotional weight. If Sumit is truly facing a serious medical crisis, then the first stage is survival and stabilization, and that stage alone can feel like an eternity for the people closest to him, because every hour matters, every update feels huge, and every small sign of improvement becomes something to hold on to. And that is usually the moment when loved ones stop thinking about everything else and focus only on one thing: getting through the next moment. And if Jenny is by his side, then this could easily become one of the most emotionally brutal experiences of her life. Because when someone you love is hurting that badly, you do not think in days or weeks, you think in seconds, you think in breaths, you think in prayers, and hope and fear all mixed together in a way that completely drains the human heart. And that is why fans are responding so emotionally, because even though they are